Africa, ancient, vibrant, and mysterious. The cradle of humankind, echoing with the footsteps of our ancestors. Vast savannas stretch endlessly, golden under the sun. Life thrives here, each creature part of nature's balance. Rainforests teem with life, sunlight barely piercing the dense green. Countless species, many still unknown, call this home. Deserts and mountains, scorching sands, snow-capped peaks. Africa is a land of dramatic contrasts and beauty. Here humanity began. The earth itself tells our story. Cultures form a vibrant tapestry, traditions, stories and customs passed through generations, thousands of languages and traditions, a celebration of resilience and diversity. Africa's natural wealth is immense, a treasure that could transform lives. Yet millions struggle daily, a heartbreaking paradox that demands attention. Diamonds, gold and fertile land, riches with complex histories. Still, poverty is widespread, casting a shadow over potential. Abundance and hardship side by side, inequality persists. Africa's story is shaped by triumph and struggle, resilience and hope. Clean water, healthcare and education remain out of reach for many. Families work hard, but food security is fragile and opportunity scarce. Deep challenges, rooted in history and injustice, shape the present. To understand Africa, we must look beyond numbers and see the spirit of its people. Each nation is unique, but all share hope for a better future. The journey to understand Africa is also a journey to witness its strength and hope. To understand Africa's present, we must confront its colonial past. European powers saw Africa as a trove of resources to exploit, not as a collection of thriving civilizations. Colonialism drained wealth, leaving behind economic dependency that lingers today. Arbitrary borders drawn at the Berlin Conference split communities and fueled conflict. Traditional institutions were dismantled, replaced by systems designed for control, not service. At independence, African leaders inherited fragile states and hollowed out institutions. Colonial economies discouraged local industry, locking Africa into exporting raw materials. Infrastructure served extraction, not connection or development. When independence came, economies were unbalanced and built for others' gain. This legacy still shapes Africa's economic landscape. Independence brought hope, but also daunting challenges. Many new governments mirrored colonial power structures, concentrating authority and stifling democracy. Corruption flourished, diverting resources from schools and hospitals into private hands. Weak institutions and lack of accountability eroded public trust and stunted development. Poor governance discouraged investment and made daily life precarious. While some leaders had noble intentions, the scale of the challenge was immense. The cycle of weak leadership and corruption became tragically common. Overcoming this legacy remains one of Africa's greatest hurdles. Africa's economies, despite their vast potential, remain heavily tied to exporting raw resources. This dependence forms a critical bottleneck, hindering diversified growth and sustainable development across the continent. The extraction and export of unprocessed materials like minerals, timber and oil, while generating revenue, often overshadow the development of other crucial sectors. This pattern is a colonial legacy that persists, a structure initially designed to funnel resources out of Africa to fuel industrial growth elsewhere. The echoes of this historical exploitation continue to shape economic policies and trade relationships today. Commodity price swings dictated by global markets create cycles of boom and bust. These unpredictable fluctuations make long-term economic planning incredibly difficult, leading to instability and hindering sustained growth. The boom periods are often short-lived, followed by sharp declines that leave economies vulnerable and exposed. This volatility makes planning difficult and long-term growth unstable. The resource curse is a harsh reality, meaning that the presence of abundant natural wealth often fuels corruption, exacerbates inequality, and ignites conflict over control and distribution. Instead of fostering widespread prosperity, these resources frequently benefit a select few, leaving many communities mired in poverty. Over-reliance on a single export such as oil or minerals leads to the neglect of other vital sectors like agriculture, manufacturing and technology. This narrow focus limits job creation, stifles diversification, and makes economies vulnerable to external shocks. Most of the value addition, the processing and manufacturing, takes place outside Africa, depriving the continent of significant economic benefits. Raw materials are exported at low prices, only to be re-imported as finished goods at significantly higher costs, creating a trade imbalance that disadvantages African economies. Building robust local industries to process these resources within Africa is crucial for unlocking sustainable growth and creating meaningful employment opportunities. This shift towards value addition is essential for fostering economic diversification, generating skilled jobs, and driving long-term prosperity. Intra-African trade, despite its immense potential, remains surprisingly low. This is largely due to colonial-era infrastructure that prioritizes exports to Europe, coupled with complex regulations and bureaucratic hurdles that impede cross-border commerce. In many cases, it's often easier and more cost-effective to trade with distant partners in Europe or China than with neighboring countries within Africa. A more integrated and interconnected African market, facilitated by initiatives like the Continental Free Trade Agreement, could unlock massive economic potential and build greater resilience against global shocks. Breaking free from these old economic chains and fostering diversified, value-added industries is absolutely essential for ushering in a new era of sustainable prosperity and inclusive growth across the African continent. Africa stands as the world's youngest continent, a vibrant land brimming with potential and promise. It's a demographic reality that shapes the continent's present and will undoubtedly define its future. With nearly 60% of its population under the age of 25, the sheer scale of its youth demographic is staggering. This represents a powerful force, a generation poised to drive innovation, economic growth, and social change. This burgeoning youth population should be Africa's greatest asset, a source of dynamism and ingenuity that propels the continent forward. Their energy, creativity, and aspirations hold the key to unlocking Africa's vast potential. But the reality is that millions of these young Africans face limited prospects, hampered by systemic challenges and a lack of opportunity. This disconnect between potential and reality is a pressing concern. Youth unemployment is not just a statistic, it's a crisis, a ticking time bomb that threatens social stability and economic progress. The lack of jobs for young people represents a significant obstacle to Africa's development. This crisis is deeply rooted in underfunded and overcrowded education systems, which struggle to provide the skills and knowledge needed for the modern workforce. The foundations of opportunity are weakened by these systemic flaws. Many schools across the continent lack trained teachers, the very individuals who are essential for shaping young minds and imparting crucial skills. The absence of qualified educators further exacerbates the problem, and basic materials such as textbooks, desks, and other essential learning tools, creating a learning environment that is far from conducive to success. Furthermore, curricula are often outdated and impractical, failing to equip students with the skills demanded by today's rapidly evolving job market. The content being taught is often disconnected from the realities of the modern world. Higher education institutions are struggling to keep up with the ever-increasing demand, leaving many qualified students unable to access the opportunities they deserve. Even those who do manage to graduate often find that job markets are unable to absorb them, leading to a frustrating cycle of unemployment and underemployment. The opportunities simply aren't there to match the skills and qualifications of the graduates. The result is widespread frustration, a sense of wasted potential, and a growing disillusionment among young people who feel that their aspirations are being stifled. This can lead to vulnerability to instability, as frustrated and disenfranchised youth become susceptible to radicalization and social unrest. The consequences of inaction are significant. Unlocking Africa's future and harnessing the potential of its youth requires a fundamental shift in priorities. It means investing in quality education and relevant skills that prepare young people for the jobs of tomorrow. A well-educated and skilled workforce is the foundation for sustainable economic growth. Curricula must be modernized to include digital literacy, equipping students with the technological skills they need to thrive in the digital age. Critical thinking skills which enable them to analyze information, solve problems and make informed decisions. And vocational training providing them with the practical skills needed to enter specific trades and industries. Fostering entrepreneurship and creating an environment that supports young entrepreneurs is also crucial. Providing mentorship and guidance are vital for helping young people navigate the challenges of starting their own businesses and pursuing their dreams. The future of Africa's youth is inextricably linked to the future of the continent itself. Their success is Africa's success. Their energy and innovation are the keys to unlocking progress and building a brighter future for all Africans. Investing in them is not just a moral imperative, it's Africa's greatest opportunity to achieve its full potential and secure a prosperous future for generations to come. Conflict and climate change are powerful forces deepening Africa's challenges. Wars destroy homes, schools and livelihoods, displacing millions and fueling cycles of poverty. Climate change brings harsher droughts, floods and shrinking resources threatening food and water security. The Sahara expands, lakes shrink and fragile food systems are pushed to the brink. Conflict and climate shocks often collide, making recovery nearly impossible for many. These intertwined crises are reversing hard-won gains and making the path out of poverty even steeper. Yet resilience endures in the face of these storms. Despite immense challenges, Africa's story is also one of resilience and progress. Countries like Rwanda and Botswana have shown how good governance can drive development. Rwanda rebuilt after genocide, focusing on unity and innovation. Botswana managed its diamond wealth to fund public services and infrastructure. Across the continent, young entrepreneurs are creating homegrown solutions, like Kenya's M-Pesa, which revolutionized mobile banking. Drones deliver medicine, and solar startups bring power to remote villages. The African Continental Free Trade Area aims to boost trade and create jobs. These successes prove the cycle of poverty can be broken. Africa's potential is being unleashed, one story at a time. Africa's path out of poverty is complex, requiring action on many fronts. Fighting corruption and building accountable institutions is the foundation for progress. Massive investment in education and healthcare will unlock human potential. Diversifying economies and boosting intra-African trade are essential for resilience. Processing resources at home and building infrastructure will drive growth. The African Continental Free Trade Area offers a framework for transformation. Africa can leapfrog to a green economy, investing in clean energy and climate-smart agriculture. Bold leadership and collective belief are needed to forge a prosperous future. Africa's story is far from over, its future is just beginning. The continent stands at a crossroads with immense potential stirring in its people. Deep challenges remain, but the key to progress lies within Africa itself. Building strong institutions, empowering youth and fostering innovation are vital. Africa seeks opportunity, not charity, a chance to transform its wealth into prosperity. The world must see Africa as a partner, not a problem. The sun rises on a new day for Africa, and its future can be bright for all humanity. The time is now.